Hello, Cancer friends. This is Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Cancer December 2022 mini scopes. This edition of my usual monthly horoscopes is a little bit abbreviated and a little bit different in appearance due to us being in the path of Hurricane Ian and at the time of the recording of these still being out of internet. So I'm doing the best that I can, wanting to make sure that I still get these to you nice and early. This is for you if Cancer is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other placements of Cancer that you're watching for. What we're going to talk about here is going to be part of your astrological picture. If you're a very late degree Cancer friend, so we'll say July 15th or so through the rest of the sign, or around 23 degrees or so for other Cancer placements through the rest of the sign, then I suggest you additionally listen to my Leo report. The very late degree friends will benefit from both the Cancer and the Leo readings. So, if you're listening to this on YouTube and you prefer to have the audio only option, you can find my podcast, Astro Kisses with Annie Botticelli, on Spotify and all other podcast servers. And if you are on the podcast version and you want the visuals, which seem to be different each month depending on what I've got going on, then you can check me out on YouTube, Annie Botticelli. I'm calling the theme of this month for Cancer, Change Your Luck in 3 Easy Steps. So we're going to talk about what I mean by that. I will give you the 3 steps, and I will explain why I'm saying that for you this month. We'll talk about the general astrological factors that will affect you that you need to know to make the most of this month. And we'll talk about things specific for Cancer placements. The first thing that I want to point out is that we are out of most of the heat of eclipse season. We do still have the possibility for big news, big events, or follow-up news from those Taurus Scorpio eclipses. The heat of that season was October and November. If you didn't listen to the reports for my reports for those months, you definitely want to go back and do that, because the eclipses that I talked about there are still influencing here in December, but it is starting to cool down. So that is something to celebrate, although this eclipse cycle has been in a really great angle for your Cancer placements. So hopefully it's brought you some really wonderful things. We do have other placements besides, whatever your Cancer placements are. And so, I don't know how the other eclipse energies are hitting your chart. But just from your Cancer perspective, it's definitely been a friendly cycle. Eclipses tend to bring non-negotiable changes, big goodbyes, big hellos, brilliant new beginnings, trajectory shifts, and so you might be getting more news or in the integration phase of that cycle. The next big thing to know is that Sagittarius planets are abounding at this time. So we've got the Sun, Venus, star goddess Hygeia, Mercury, all in the sign of Sagittarius, and this is the sign of luck. And here it is in your 6th house, so we're going to talk about what the easy steps are and how you are supported by making those steps now. The first easy step to help you change your luck that the universe is supporting you with the planetary placements now is to decide to see the glass as half full and the rest of the glass as full of opportunities. This is how I like to describe being a Sagittarius myself, kind of being ruled by this sign and this energy. You have this extra chance now to buoy your way of seeing things, and a quick perspective change can actually change everything. So if you make that decision to kind of just even pretend as if, even if you're not buying it, then just try to view a situation or your situation in your life from that perspective of the glass being half full instead of half empty, and that empty part being full of possibilities that could conspire for your good. The next thing that you can do to change your luck in 3 easy steps that is very well supported by these Sagittarius placements is to invest in what will give you self-confidence. Fire signs are very notorious for having confidence, and so much of success and a lot of joy can come from true self-confidence. And so if you can make the choice to invest in the things that will help to give you true self-confidence, like coming from the inside, solid, rock solid, then this is going to really change your luck, because when we feel defeated by life, when we don't feel good about ourselves, then we tend to attract in circumstances that make us feel more victimized. So in order for you to shift your luck, take the time and the money or the other resources to invest. Maybe it's, increasing your education. Maybe it's making, certain choices as far as, boundaries. Maybe it's, shifting your job or going for your dreams or whatever it is. Taking the time to invest in that is going to help to give you the self-confidence, and the self-confidence is going to help to change your luck. And the third thing that you can do that's supported by all this Sag energy is to envision the best case scenario. Now, Cancer friends, maybe you're an exception to this, but most of the people with Cancer placements are our worriers, okay? We have a couple of signs among us that tend to be worry warts more than others, okay? So if you're in that, then when you're constantly picturing the worst case scenario, and not picturing the best case scenario, your subconscious mind is a powerful force that contributes to your manifestation. And so you can actually change your luck. Now, certain things obviously are destined and completely out of our control, and we can't do anything about them. Certain things are going to happen no matter what we're thinking, and that is just the way it is. But there are a lot of lines of experience that lead to our destiny, and you can shift and improve your experience by making the choice to envision the best case scenario and remembering that worrying is actually an addiction. There is a cascade of neurochemical markers that follow the addiction of worrying. And when you loop that in your mind, you're actually setting in motion an addictive cycle that your body looks for. So you might have to consciously break that habit. I like to say cancel clear if I say or think something that I realize is putting me off track, and then just do your best to envision the best case scenario. Okay, so these 3 easy steps can help you to change your luck, and it's very, very, very well supported at this time. It's very unusual for us to have so much Sagittarius energy in the stars, plus also buoyed by the fact that Jupiter, Sagittarius's ruler, just went direct at the end of November. So here we are in December enjoying the benefits of that positive movement. Now, while it is true that these fire placements do make a bit of an awkward angle for you, showing that this might be a little bit of a stretch, and you might have to do a little bit of work to reframe some things. It might take a little bit of effort, but it will definitely be worth it. Now, some other things that these Sag energies are bringing for you specifically have to do with having the fresh inspiration to change your surroundings, whether it is just taking a little day trip, whether it's planning, or dreaming of a future trip with a vision board, or whether it's sprucing up your space. The energy of the 6th house is very strong for you right now, and the spotlight of the sun is there. So it's helping you to look at your environment and see what in your environment is matching the life that you want to create for yourself and what isn't, and doing the work to shift that. And that also includes the things that you do every day. If you take the same path to work every day or the same path to whatever, there's an adventurous energy that is calling out now that wants you to take even the smallest step into making life a little bit of an adventure, more so than whatever it is that you're doing right now. And that could be in a super huge way, or it could be in a small way. Something that I always like to do, now, of course, I remind you, I am a Sagittarius, and again, so I've got a lot to say on this topic just from my way of being, is I always like to play the tourist in my area, where I pretend as if I am a person who doesn't live in the area, and instead of just being like, taking for granted the things around me, I like to look at my area through the eyes of somebody coming to visit and see the kinds of things that they might do to kind of freshen and enliven my experience. And because the 6th house is the house of your daily experience, your rote routine, the things you do every day, you have this chance for newness, freshness, to come in and to really just make everything a lot better, a lot sunnier. This can also add freshness to your health routines. This can add more outdoor time. This can add just anything having to do with gathering information that expands your horizons or taking bigger steps to expand your horizons. It's a very broadening, buoying period of time. Mars continuing in Gemini, even in its retrograde motion, is calling to you to experiment. This is a time where you're going to be super busy, a lot of social interactions, but also a lot of call to have your own private personal pursuits. So you're going to have to very actively, purposely balance all of the social opportunities that you have and the busying things that require or you desire for research, information, education, teaching, learning, those kind of things, even travel, to balance kind of hiding in your little crab shell while, popping out and, showing up for the opportunities. But Mars in Gemini is really calling for this experimentation with how you use your energy. And things that are best indicated now are things that could have really great outcomes with a really low investment. So if you're like trying a new marketing technique, but it's not super expensive and it could go really well, or if it doesn't, it's no skin off your back, right? So, maybe trying a certain hobby or a little class, or just trying things on in a way that if it doesn't work out or go the way you think, that it will be totally fine. And this can really help to, again, just really broaden what's going on in your normal experience. Mars in retrograde has the rule that we don't want to force anything that's not flowing. So the end of October through into January, we have the official Mars retrograde. The pre-shadow transit started before then, like the beginning of September, and the post-shadow transit goes into March 2023. So we've got a long transit here where force is not well indicated. But even though certain things will be slowing down because Mars will be taking some steam out of certain things, Mars retrograde can also add obsessions in for certain things. So you may find some things that were going really, smoothly, you might start to get frustrated. And if you get frustrated, that's your key, marker to say, uh-oh, I must not be, following the Mars retrograde rules if it's something you can table or try doing a different way. But definitely any force that you put out now can boomerang back at you, whether that's force like filing something against someone or whether that's force like trying to force something to happen. But there will be things that are waking up in your life as Jupiter promises. So things in your world of work and career and your place out in the world, whether that's paid or not, whether it's passion projects, Jupiter is lifting that energy, and you might find some things really racing forward where you've got new opportunities, different opportunities, and chances to educate yourself for furthering your career or changing careers altogether. So there's a lot of energy there, as well as healing things having to do with father and father figures. And this makes a little bit, like I mentioned before, of a challenged angle for you, which means that you will have fire underneath your watery pot, which will spur you to action. And if the actions you're taking are flowing and you're not getting frustrated, then you know that you're on track, okay? So Jupiter is going to wake certain things up. Mars is going to slow certain things down. Then the last piece we have here is that for the first 12 days of the month, Mercury is clear, okay? So we don't have to add in the Mercury retrograde equation just yet. So I liken from December 1st through 12th as us going on the highway. As far as Mercury things, communication, transportation, mobility, information, scheduling, we're just kind of flowing for the first almost couple of weeks. And then between the 12th and the 28th or so, that is when you are going to slow down to make a U-turn. So just kind of imagine all the awkwardness of cruising along, then like, oh gosh, I have to get over all these lanes and I have to slow down and I have to get to stop to this median point. And so you're going to feel certain things that had been planned, things that had seemed set. Write things only in pencil this month, for sure. Starting to slow down, okay? So from the 12th to the 28th, you're slowing down. Then from the 29th to January 19th, we've got Mercury in retrograde. And that's where you're sitting at that median, waiting for all that traffic speeding by going the other way, where you have to try to make your way into that. And you're just kind of hanging out, waiting for your opportunity. And so we are going to have things inwards and backwards. Things come to a stall. You'll see all of these energies happening at once. Certain things will wake up. Certain things will have the Mars tone. Certain things will have the Mercury tone. And the more you're paying attention to this, the more you'll see these subtle layers of experience weaving their way in for you. And then January 19th through February 6th, that's the point at which you are getting back into the lane going the other way, and you are getting back up to speed. And then by February 6th, we open up this beautiful, amazing window for launches and clarity and pushing forward and forcing if necessary and initiation. And so that's kind of the cycle of the months to come. So this is still somewhat of a resting point for certain things, but it is also a point where certain opportunities will come and you do have some good energy to take action because of all of that fire. Just kind of make sure that the actions that you take, if possible, are things that are flexible arrangements, are inner decisions, rather than announcing to the world certain things, because what you're doing right now is in a process of change and it hasn't completed yet. So anything that you boldly announce is likely going to shift. So it's better, the more you kind of keep it quiet or close to you, closer, people to you, so that you can make your big, bold decisions and big pushes forward here in a couple of months. So that's the general energy of this month. Look for fullness, completion, fruition, possibly drama, for better or worse, in the days around December 7th, as we have that full moon at 16 degrees of Gemini. That is also going to be for you in the same place where Mars is doing its retrograde thing. So your 12th house of your unconscious mind, of your inner world, of your connections with the divine, of your, psychology and spirituality, all of that is being very much activated. This is also a house of fears, and this is also a house of dragon slaying, as I love to call it, where you can have something come up and then you conquer it and you are so much better off for it. So that is happening. In the days around December 23rd, we've got a new moon in Capricorn, and that actually reminds me, I wanted to tell you. So all this Sag energy is very present all month, but it starts to shift 3 weeks in. So around the 1st, 22nd of December, we've got planets starting to move into Capricorn. It grounds out the energy. It gets things more serious, and it starts to bring big focus into your relationship space. And that is a trend that is going to be present for a while. So you're kind of spinning around. And as the Capricorn energies come in, you've got new chance for setting intentions and making wishes along the lines of your business and your work and your career and your strategies in life, your systems, and also anything within your relationship space. And that can also be your relationship with yourself. But if you've got to do something with discipline or organization, you will have more focus come the end of the month and then into January. So it's kind of like a party, being out there doing all this stuff energy for the first several weeks, and then you start to ground in and clean up a bit from whatever happened in the previous 3 weeks. Speaking of which, one of the big things to watch this month is that we've got 3 squares with Jupiter. Having a square with Jupiter is better than any other squares with outer planets. And what we really have to watch out for is overdoing, overcommitting, and all of that. So if you want some more dates, and actually all my top fave dates for the month, the top dates to be extra careful and awareful, and a detailed write-up of the astrology present and ahead, go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. While you're at that same site, you can see all the other free goodies I make for you. If you're into astrology education, you can go to anniebastrology.com, Annie, the letter B, astrology.com, and see my options there. You can also see my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, at lumelife.com, Lume life.com. I've got free courses, and I also have my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course. If you want to be an astrologer as your profession, I can teach you how to do that. If you want to earn money for your love of the stars, then you can check that out there. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.